Welcome to the Bag Makers Workroom. I am Chris with Simply Classic, and today is Thursday, October 23rd, 2025. Thank you for joining us this evening. We go live every Thursday at 7 p.m., except today. Our episode is pre-recorded because I am in Florida. So Barbie Taylor from Genie Bags and I are teaching at a retreat down in Ruskin, Florida, and I'm sure we're having a wonderful time. We'll share some pictures with you next week. But my team member, Shauna, is here in the chat this evening. So if you have any questions during the live, she'll be happy to answer them. And if there's anything she can't answer, we'll cover it next week. So our theme today is suede, and here's what we have planned. We're going to start by going over what's new in the Simply Classic scoop. Then I'll show you our pattern of the week, which is the Zara, and some perfect pairings for that. We'll talk about suede and faux suede. Then we'll look at some designer bags for some inspiration. We'll feature our customers' bags in Artistry Avenue. And finally, we'll announce our weekly pattern giveaway. So before we get started, please take a second to click the thumbs up button below. It really does make a difference, and I appreciate it. And I also want to say I did look, and about 50% of our viewers are subscribed. So if you haven't subscribed yet, please subscribe. It, again, does help the channel. So now it's time for the Simply Classic Scoop, where I tell you what's new here at Simply Classic. And the first thing I want to talk about is we have some new thread colors that we're super excited about. So our Tech 70 thread, the name has now changed to Fusion 70, and it arrived in the colors daffodil, magenta, burnt orange, blue jay, cotton candy, which is a variegated thread, and grape. Now we already carry all these colors in the Tex 45, which is basically Fusion 45, and we're really excited to have them here in Fusion 70 as well. So I want to tell you a little bit about the thread we carry because I get a lot of questions about it. This thread comes from the brand Have and Hash by Filtech, and it comes in two sizes. So Fusion 45 is a Tex 45 thread. It's lighter weight, but still very strong. It's compatible with most sewing machines, both domestic and industrial. And I actually used some of this in my industrial machine recently. It works great. It can be used in both the top and the bobbin at the same time. The Fusion 70 is a Tech 70 thread, which is actually size 69, but it is a heavier weight thread. It is compatible with industrial sewing machines, although I have tried it on my BO8 and it worked. So it can be used with the semi-industrials as well, and it can also be used in the bobbin. So these are both bonded nylon threads, and they were designed specifically for use with leather and similar materials. Fusion 70 is actually used for upholstery by companies like Lazy Boy, so these are excellent quality. You always want to go with a bonded nylon or polyester thread when you're making bags. Don't ever use cotton. The other thing I want to mention is Filtech is a U.S. company, and all of the thread is manufactured here in the U.S. in either Pennsylvania or Maryland, which I love. I do try to source here in the U.S. as much as possible, and I was super excited that I was able to partner with Filtech to bring you these threads. The bonded nylon is also UV resistant, water resistant, so it's great for outdoor use. A lot of times people use it on outdoor cushions and sailboats, that type of thing, but it really makes it great for bags. So we also have an exciting announcement. We have a new bag pattern coming out next week. It will be released on Thursday, October 30th. So I'll tell you about it on next week's episode, but I thought I would show you just a little sneak peek today. So this is the Eva Beauty bag. It is designed for carrying of cosmetics and toiletries, and the pattern includes two sizes, a large and a small. It was our project in our bag making subscription box this fall. So some of you have already made it. I've seen them on the Facebook group. You've done a fantastic job. I really love seeing everyone's posts. But for those of you who are not subscribers, the Eva bag will be released next Thursday, which is 1 week from today. So I can't wait to tell you more about it then. So now it's time to talk about our pattern of the week this week, which is the Zara. And the Zara is this bag here. It is on sale for $12.49, and that is for the PDF version only. This is the newest Simply Classic pattern that we released this summer. It was inspired by the Loewe puzzle bag, and it was our summer quarterly subscription box pattern. So these are 3 bags from Loewe's iconic puzzle collection. The Loewe has a lot of different puzzle style bags, but when someone just says puzzle bag, they're usually talking about one of these. When the Zara pattern first came out, we talked about Loewe and their puzzle bags in more detail. So go watch the Bag Maker's Workroom on July 31st. It's linked below if you're interested in learning more about these Loewe bags and how the Zara compares. The Zara is a great everyday bag. It finishes at 11.5 inches wide, 6 inches tall, and 3 inches deep. It has a convertible adjustable strap that you can either be used as a regular strap or a crossbody strap. It has this kind of geometric design on the front and a very distinctive asymmetric flap. So we're going to go to the overhead and take a little bit closer look at the Zara. So as I mentioned, the Zara has this fold over asymmetrical flap. It has no stabilizer in this flap, just like the Loewe bag. And we don't put any stabilizer in here because there's no hardware holding this flap closed. The inspiration bag was made that way, and so therefore we made our Zara that way as well. It does have an added feature in the back, which is a slip pocket. And I show you how to customize this to your cell phone. I actually left these 2 smaller pockets here, either for pen or sunglasses, reading glasses, whatever you may need. But, you know, depending on how big your cell phone is, will depend on how big this back pocket is for you. On the top here, we have a zipper closure. And then in the inside, we have a zipper closure or zipper pocket here. We also have a divided slip pocket here on this side. And then, of course, we have a key fob in here as well. So to make the Zara, I recommend using a soft material like a lambskin leather or a PU-based faux leather. Don't recommend vinyl, cork, or other stiffer materials because they're not going to allow the flap to sit properly. If you do want to do something thicker, if you want to use something thicker, try using it as an accent piece on the front of the bag. You know, maybe like where I have this green. Now, I've seen some customers use materials like cork and just add hardware on the flap to keep it closed, which you can certainly do. It just kind of gives it a different look. So again, the Zara pattern is $12.49 this week. That discount will end next Wednesday, October 29th. We are also offering 10% off hardware kits for the Zara in bronze, nickel, and gunmetal. And as always, we're giving away 2 patterns to our customers later in the episode. I'll tell you how to enter later on as we continue. So now it's time for perfect pairings, and this is where we match some of our leather and faux leather with lining, thread, and hardware. If you're ever unsure about what goes together, feel free to reach out via email. We're always happy to help. So our faux leather pairing is a mauve solid faux leather, which is, of course, this one here. And then we have our dark pink suede. We love this combination. We think it looks amazing with the Tiny Dots pink lining by Tilda, nickel hardware, and then white thread. This is actually a combination I have used more than once myself. I really love it. For our leather pairing, we suggest using blush, kind of going on the same idea as the faux leather. We have this blush. Now, for accents, you could use the back of this. You just want to really be careful when you use the back. There's usually, you know, as you can see, there's some markings on here. This is typically where they stamp the size of the hide as well. So as you go through and consider using the back, which really works out well because it's a good color match, but just be careful of what sections you choose. So we think this blush looks fantastic with our Tiny Dots pink and bronze hardware and sand thread. So the blush leather is 10% off this week. And our leather is genuine leather. Now, what that means is that it comes from further down in the hide. So the part it's more like next to the part that becomes suede. And we're going to go over all that in just a minute. So, just kind of be aware of what kind of leather you're buying when you do buy leather. And ours it's obviously real leather, but furthermore, it's genuine leather. So we think this would make an amazing Zara or any other bag you'd like to make. And again, this blush leather is 10% off this week, as well as the Zara hardware kits. So now it's time for Sharpen Your Skills, where we learn tips and techniques to help you become a better bag maker. And today I want to talk to you about suede and faux suede. What is it? How do we use it in our bag making? So we had this topic planned for a while, and it just so happens that Tanner Leatherstein made a YouTube video recently all about suede a couple weeks ago. So some of this information does come from that video. He is a great resource for learning about luxury leather brands. You may know him as like the guy who deconstructs designer bags on YouTube to look at the quality of the leather. And I really recommend him. I love watching his videos, and I know I've recommended him before. So go and take a look. He really is a great resource. So first, let's talk about what suede actually is. Suede is the underside of the animal hide. It's delicate, it's velvety soft, and I have some suede here to show you. So we're going to switch to the overhead real quick. So suede is very prone to water damage. When tanneries manufacture suede, they add a water-wicking ingredient to help resist the moisture. However, suede does not have a finish on it the way most leather hides do. Grain leather is finished with protective plastic-based coatings, but suede is not. There's no finish on this at all. Okay, it's just the natural, and you can see there's a nap to it as well. As I move my hand over it, you can see it changes color a little bit. Grain leather is finished with a protective plastic-based coating. Suede is not. That's part of the reason it has this loose, almost velvety texture, but that's not the only reason. If you took a regular piece of grain leather or genuine leather and didn't add a protective coating, it still wouldn't look like this. And that's because it comes from a different part of the hide. So let's take a look at this diagram. We've looked at it before, back on July 17th, where we discussed the difference between top grain and full grain and genuine leather, but we didn't talk much about suede at that time. So we're going to do that now. If you recall, animal hides are made of collagen bundles that are tighter and denser at the top. They're looser in the corium, which is the bottom. Those tight bundles are what make up the top and full grain leather, so it's super durable. Suede, on the other hand, comes from the very bottom layers of the hide, right up next to the flesh. The collagen bundles are very loose, which is what makes suede so soft. The fibers are more open. So think about what happens if you take a skein of yarn and cut it in half. You're freeing all of those individual strands, and they separate to become a pom-pom. And it's kind of similar with the idea of suede. So something that confuses a lot of people is the difference between suede and nubuck. You'll even see bags described as nubuck suede, which can be confusing, but nubuck is actually not suede at all. It's made from the grain side of leather, which is buffed to look really soft. So here's an example of the Bagaholic, nubuck on the left and suede on the right. They look similar, but they're made from different parts of the hide. Suede will always have those looser fibers. Like most leather, suede is a byproduct of the meat industry, so most suede comes from cows. Cow hides are very thick, so they're usually split into 2 or 3 layers using a splitter, which almost looks like a deli meat slicer. The very bottom layer has no grain at all, which is called dropping the split. It gives us a piece of leather that is suede on both sides, and that's the most common type of suede that we see. However, there are other types of suede. Pigs produce cheaper suede with larger pores, and it's often used for lower priced bag lining. Goats produce excellent suede. In fact, their hides are often preferred for suede rather than grain leather. Suede is very lightweight and it makes a wonderful high quality bag lining. So sheep produce thin, soft, delicate suede that is perfect for garment making. Often you will see what's called double-faced, which means it has shearling fur on one side and suede on the other side. Suede is a fantastic leather product, but it's very delicate and it requires special care. I like to use suede, but we even use it for our bandit class as a little bit of an accent, but we don't carry it in our online store at this time. We do, however, carry faux suede. So now let's talk about that. Because when it comes to faux suede, there are a few different types. The most common kind for bag making is what we call micro suede. And basically, there are small fibers that are used to mimic the look and feel of suede. So most faux suede is plastic-based with woven or knit backing. It usually is composed of a combination of polyurethane, otherwise known as PU, and polyester microfiber. Examples include Ultra Suede, which is a brand from Japan, and Alcantara, which is a brand from Italy. Knit fabric suede is most common for bag making, and that's what we carry in our shop. It's typically made by submerging a coarse layer of materials in a solution of water with PU microfibers. The fibers are compacted onto the base, and then they dye and finish the material. Another example is the brand Dynamica, which is also a non-woven. It handles more like real suede, and it's more expensive. You'll usually see it used for high-end car interiors, especially outside of the US. The final kind of suede is sueded fabric. You may have seen sueded silk or sueded cotton before. These are fabrics that are treated with a chemical process that gives them a velvety suede-like texture. You usually see them on garments. So, let's wrap up our talks about suede, and I'm going to give you a couple tips. Remember, suede is very delicate, so consider using it as an accent and not the whole main part of your bag, and your bag will last longer. And you can, again, sometimes use the reverse side like I showed you on our leather hide a little earlier, especially when you're using genuine leather, because one side's finished and the other side is pretty velvety. But just kind of watch it, because that's where all the markings are concerning the size of the hide. And as they split it, sometimes it doesn't look as good. And, for a similar look that lasts longer, try nubuck or faux suede instead. So now let's see some suede in action. We're going to look at some designer bags. And of course, this is where we take a look at some bags that fit our theme. And of course, today's theme is suede, so all of our bags feature suede. And, typically what we've done here in the past is when we show you designer bags, we show you some products in the Simply Classic store that can compare to them. So we're going to do that today. And we want to show you some of the suedes we carry first. So these are our neutral suede colors that we carry. We took photos of the front and the back for you. A lot of people like to use suede for fringe. And of course, with most fringe, the back will be visible. So I want to show you what the back of these rolls look like. The photo on the top is the front, and then the bottom is the knit backing. So of course, I could show you these in real life, but I think the photo does a really better job at capturing the color and the texture. We took these photos yesterday in natural daylight with no artificial lights. So keep in mind that the colors can look different on different screens and different monitors and in different lighting. But these photos should give you a general idea of our faux suede. So these are the neutrals. We have brown, camel, gray, and black. And then these are our colors: dark pink, merlot, blue, and navy. So you can see the texture on the lighter colors better. And I think we were trying to figure out why that is. Like the black and the navy look like they don't have as much texture. And I think it's really an illusion, and it's just the way that the light hits them. And, as you know, darker colors tend to take more light in, and it's kind of an optical illusion. But, overall, these suedes are great to work with. They're not real, okay? I mean, obviously, if you put it next to a real suede, you're going to know the difference, but they're really similar, and it's really a great alternative. So let's first start out with this navy blue hobo bag from Parker Thatch. It is a classic use of suede. Now, suede is really great for slouchy bags like this. They also use a solid for the handles, and usually because you don't want to touch your suede a lot. Again, it's not water resistant. It's very delicate, so you don't want to put your hands all over it if possible. So I recommend the Lusso Hobo bag pattern, and I'm just going to kind of point. We have one made in suede here. This is the perfect pairing for today. It's our dark pink suede with the solid handle. And so we love it in the Lusso. We think it's a great hobo style bag. And you could easily do that in the navy solid for the handles, and then our navy suede for the main part of the bag, and achieve this look. So this is the Loewe puzzle bag, which inspired the Zara. And we've looked at this one before, and a lot of you really love the fringe. This would really be pretty easy to recreate on the Zara. You could just stitch it in that one seam, or you could add it to the flap instead on the front. I think it would be really cute either way. You can also do all over fringe, like on this bucket bag from the brand Hogan. They cut their fringe a bit thicker than usual, and that can be really smart when you have multiple layers like this, because it keeps your fringe from kind of getting tangled and looking sloppy. I love mixing textures. I love using our suede with our solids, or even our suede with our textures. They're just beautiful. And this bag is similar to that. It does not disappoint. This is really interesting. I love the direction of the pieces. It gives this bag a lot of dimension, and it almost looks like it's woven, but it's not. It's just the grain. It's just the suede and the leather, and it's just beautiful. I just love this. And I think this would be great with our solid browns and the faux suede in brown. We have a couple different browns. Now, this bag is from Bottega Veneta, and it actually is woven. So they use two different colors of suede and a neutral grain of leather. And again, another great way to combine different textures. The light blue would be beautiful with this, with a cream. And that was one of our color combinations last week. It would be really beautiful on this. So you can quilt suede, and you see that on this Michael Kors bag, which is about the same color as our Merlot. Suede is beautiful quilted. So finally, I want to share two tote bags with simple suede panels. And if you really like the look of suede and you're not sure where to start, this is a good first project. I recommend using our Julie tote pattern. So I'm going to bring a Julie over. And what I would suggest on this, and this is very similar to one of the bags we just showed, is to use suede for this upper section. It goes all the way down, okay? So you can use it here, or you can use it on the pocket, or you can use it both. And that's going to give you kind of that stripe look right down the center. And I think it would really be a great way to use our suede or any suede in a bag. And it would be a great place to start. So I hope that this gives you some inspiration for using suede in your bag making. Whether you prefer real leather or faux, there are so many different things you can do with it. So now we are going to go to Artistry Avenue, and this is where we feature bags made by you, our customers. This is my favorite segment. Every week we choose 3 bags that we post in the Simply Classic Bag Making community on Facebook, or email to share@simplyclassic.net. If we feature your bag, you have 30 days to email share@simplyclassic.net to let us know which pattern you'd like. So now let's take a look at this week's artists. Our pattern of the week is the Zara. So we chose some Zaras that we really loved. So Rebecca made 2 Zaras. And actually she said she made 4, but she did make 4. We just could only feature 2 on the slide. She did some gorgeous color blocking with shades of brown and tan, and I love this. I love that she used different textures, including croc and faux woven vinyl. This is absolutely beautiful. Now you see she did put some magnetic snaps on her flap. Probably, well, it looks like they're magnetic. I'm not really sure. If not, it might just be to weigh that flap down a little bit. It looks like that woven one might have been a little bit heavy for the bag. It's beautiful. You did an excellent job, Rebecca. Helena made this Zara using real leather with red croc accent. Wow. I mean, this is such a stunning bag. The great thing about leather is that you can train it. So as time goes on, that flap, if it's sticking out even just a little bit, eventually it's going to flop down, and it looks like it might already be flopping. It was like I should have used an excellent weight of leather for this. So it is beautiful. I love this. Great job, Helena. And then Leah made a faux croc stridge in Zara. And croc stridge is kind of our word for crocodile and ostrich combined. She mentioned that she had already cut out the pieces before seeing that it's best to avoid vinyl fabrics on this bag. But she said no problem, added a magnetic snap to keep her flap closed. And she said it worked out perfectly. So as always, I said that a pattern is a suggestion and not a rule. You need to do whatever you'd like to make it your own. And Leah did an amazing job on this Zara. So thank you so much to our featured artists for sharing your amazing makes. You're so very talented. Don't forget to email share@simplyclassic.net within the next 30 days to let us know which PDF pattern you'd like. So this is where we would normally do our Q&A. Today's show is pre-recorded. There was one question that I do want to mention. We saw it pop up in last week's episode, and we didn't get a chance to answer it. And it was the question about whether we have a retail location. And right now, as of today, we do not. We do have an office and a warehouse behind the office, but it's not open for retail. Eventually, one day we would like to do that, but unfortunately, we have to kind of take things as we can and do a little bit of recovery from the warehouse that we moved into this year, and still trying to get the final things organized. And hopefully at some point, we will not only have a retail location, but also a permanent classroom. So fingers crossed that things go in that direction. Hopefully they will. So if there are any questions that Shauna can't answer in the chat, she'll save them for me to answer on next week's episode. But let's talk about our giveaways. We are giving away 2 PDF patterns for the Zara, and here's how to enter. So I want you to leave a comment on the video, and this is on the replay video, that includes 2 things: your first name and your favorite Halloween candy. So I could tell you, well, I don't know. Mine, I think, is Reese's Peanut Butter Cups. But, you know, I also like candy corn, which is only available during Halloween. So anyway, you have until next Wednesday, October 29th to enter, and I will randomly choose 2 winners on next week's episode. The giveaway is open worldwide, so make sure you leave a comment on the video, not in the live chat. And if you post your response in the chat, we won't be able to see it. It won't count. Okay, so make sure you do it on the replay. So again, your first name and your favorite Halloween candy, and 2 people will win the Zara. So thank you so much for joining for the Bag Makers Workroom. Make sure you join us next Thursday, October 30th. It's a very special episode because not only are we releasing a brand new pattern next week, it's also our 1-year anniversary of the Bag Makers Workroom. So we have officially been out here a year. So we're going to do a few extra giveaways and some fun activities, and we'll look back on the past year as a community. Don't forget to submit your Simply Classic makes by posting them in the Facebook group or emailing share@simplyclassic.net. Please remember to click that thumbs up button on your way out. Rest of the year, I'm here, so we won't do any more pre-recorded. We're done. I know we've had a really busy fall, and we appreciate you hanging in there while we do these pre-records. We want to be here for you every Thursday, like we say. So thank you so much for joining us. And until next time, everybody, happy sewing.